The accident. The cold metal floor sent a chill up Captain Alara's spine as she slowly opened her eyes. Her vision was blurry. Bright white lights buzzed above her. She tried to move, but something was wrong. Her left arm wouldn't move. Panic rose in her chest. She turned her head and gasped. Her arm was glued to the smooth surface of a strange alien table. But it wasn't just stuck. It was fused, melted, as if the metal had become part of her skin. The border between her flesh and the machine was no longer clear. Her arm was glowing faintly blue. "What is this?" she whispered, her voice hoarse. Footsteps echoed in the room. She looked up. A tall, thin figure walked toward her. Gray skin, long fingers, black eyes without pupils. Alien, wearing a white robe. In its hand, a long metallic tool, sharp, like a blade. The alien looked at her without emotion. "You are awake," it said. Its voice was cold, metallic, and deep. Where am I?" Alara asked, trying to stay calm. "You are in a research chamber. You were recovered after the explosion. On Sector 9, she remembered now. The mission, the ambush. She had been sent with her team to explore an alien energy source, but it was a trap. A blast. Fire. Then darkness. "You fused with the core device," the alien said, pointing at her arm. "It is not safe for you. We must remove it." Ilara's eyes widened. "Remove it? You mean cut it off?" "Yes," the alien replied. "Amputation is necessary." She pulled against the table. Her arm didn't budge. The metal held her tight. "You don't understand," she said, her voice rising. "Humans don't give up that easily. There has to be another way." The alien tilted its head. "You humans are weak. You break easily. But this connection is rare. You are the first." It raised the blade slowly. "Prepare for removal." "No," Ilara screamed. She kicked her legs, trying to roll off the table, but the straps held her down. Then something strange happened. The fused metal on her arm glowed brighter, pulsing. A soft hum filled the room. The blade in the alien's hand shook and sparks flew from its edge. The alien stepped back. "What is this?" it said, confused. "The tech. It's responding to you." Ilara stopped struggling and looked at her arm. The glow was stronger now. The metal was moving, shifting slightly like it was alive. She felt warmth spread from her shoulder to her fingertips. Not pain, something else. Power. She took a deep breath. "It's not just stuck to me," she said. "It's listening to me." The alien looked shocked. "That is impossible." "Maybe, for you," she said. "Not for us." The door to the chamber opened. Another alien entered, holding a strange data pad. It spoke quickly in a different language. The first alien nodded, then turned to Ilara. "More humans survived. We will study them too." Ilara clenched her jaw. They were experimenting on them. She had to stop them. She had to escape. The fused metal on her arm moved again. A small part of it rose up, forming a sharp edge, a blade. Her eyes widened. "I can control it," she whispered. The alien surgeon stepped back. "No, you cannot. The tech is unstable. You will destroy yourself." "Better than letting you do it," she snapped. She pulled again. This time, her arm lifted half an inch from the table. The fusion was weakening. The bond was changing. Suddenly, the room lights flickered. An alarm began to beep faintly somewhere far in the facility. The alien turned its head. "System overload?" Ilara smiled slightly. "Looks like your machine likes me more than you." The metal blade on her arm sharpened. Her other hand was still free. She reached out, grabbed the edge of the table, and pushed hard, using all her strength. The fused surface cracked. The alien lunged forward, but it was too late. With a loud snap, Ilara's arm ripped free. Metal tore, sparks flew. She rolled off the table and landed hard on the floor. She looked up at the alien, her arm raised, the new metal weapon humming quietly. "I'm not your experiment," she said. The alien stared at her in silence. She turned and ran toward the open door, but just before she reached it, two more aliens appeared, blocking the exit. She stopped. Her breath was heavy. Her heart was racing. But her arm, her new arm, was ready. "Come on," she said quietly. "Let's see what this thing can really do." Human instinct. Alara stood frozen. Two aliens blocked the exit. Both were taller than her, armored in smooth black suits that shimmered under the lab lights. Each held a glowing baton in one hand, crackling, with blue energy, not just guards, hunters. Behind her, the alien surgeon recovered from shock. It reached for a control panel on the wall. Alara had no time to think, only react. Her fused metal arm shifted again, responding to her fear. A sharp edge formed, like a sword. The tech wasn't just a part of her body now. It was learning with her. It wanted her to survive. She charged forward. The first guard swung its baton. She ducked. The second one tried to block her, but she raised her arm and swiped. A burst of sparks flew. The alien shouted in pain, its baton falling from its hand. She didn't stop. She slammed through the doorway, shoulder first, and ran into a long, metallic corridor. Red lights blinked overhead. The alarm was louder now. Mechanical voices spoke in a language she didn't understand. She didn't care. She was out. But she was still deep inside a place she didn't recognize. An alien lab hidden beneath a foreign planet. She had no map, no weapon, only her instincts, and her new arm. Memories in the dark. She slowed her steps, ducking into a side hallway. The walls here were darker, rougher. Pipes ran along the ceiling, steam leaking from cracked vents. It smelled of metal, dust, and something rotten. Alara leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Her body ached. Her head was pounding. But her mind was clearing. She closed her eyes. "Think, Alara. You've been trained for worse." Bits of memory returned. The ambush, her team, their screams. Were they still alive? She didn't know. She looked down at her arm. It had returned to a smooth silver gray. The glow had faded, but it still pulsed under her skin like a heartbeat. She raised it slowly. "I don't know what you are," she whispered to it, "but we're going to get out of here. Together." Alien, eyes and silent lies. She moved deeper into the corridors, staying low, avoiding the lights. Strange sounds echoed in the distance, screams, machines, footsteps. At one point she saw a small surveillance drone hover past above her. She froze. The drone stopped mid-air, scanned the hall, and then floated away. She frowned. Why didn't it see me? The tech in her arm pulsed softly again. It was interfering with their sensors. She wasn't just fused with a weapon. She was invisible to them. Now she had an advantage. She found a supply room, small, full of crates and glass containers. Inside one she found a cracked reflective panel. She lifted it to her face. She barely recognized herself. Cuts on her cheek, blood dried in her hair, and her left eye. It was glowing faintly blue. She dropped the panel. What did they do to me? The others. Suddenly she heard something. Movement behind a door nearby. A whisper, then a cough. She moved closer and placed her ear to it. Please. Someone. Help. Human voice. She opened the door slowly. Inside was a dark, small, holding cell. A young man, maybe early 20s, sat in the corner. Thin, weak, but alive. His eyes lit up when he saw her. You're not one of them, he said softly. Neither are you, Alara replied. He tried to stand but winced in pain. Alara, she said, introducing herself as she helped him. Jonah, engineer. They took me from the mining colony on Kepler 4. She looked around. Are there more? He nodded. 3 others, but they're deeper inside, guarded. Alara clenched her jaw. She hated leaving people behind, but rushing in, unprepared, meant death. She studied Jonah. Can you move? Barely. Then I'll go, I'll come back for the rest. They don't understand humans. As they snuck through the hallways, Alara noticed something odd. The alien walls flickered where she walked. Lights dimmed. Doors opened just before she reached them. The tech wasn't just responding to her, it was assisting her. Do they know what you're carrying? Jonah asked quietly, glancing at her arm. They know it fused with me, she said, but I don't think they understand what that means. Jonah nodded slowly. They think in logic, in systems. They don't understand the human mind. Emotion, instinct. Alara whispered more to herself. That's why they'll lose. Room 217, they reached an elevator shaft and climbed down using the maintenance rails. Jonah slipped twice, but Alara caught him. Finally, they reached level 3. This level was colder. The air was heavier, and it was quiet. Too quiet. She peeked into a hallway. At the far end, 3 more cells. Inside each, a human. One was unconscious. One was crying. One looked straight at her, hope flickering in his eyes. But standing guard, in front of the cells was something massive, a mechanical beast, 4-legged, spider-like, with glowing eyes and metal claws. Not alive. Security bot, Alara whispered. Stay here. Jonah grabbed her wrist. You'll die. Maybe, she said, but I'd rather die trying than leave them behind. She stepped forward. The machine turned. It scanned her. It paused. Her heart raced. Then it spoke. ID not recognized. Energy source detected. Possible threat. Its claws began to spin. Lasers charged up. Alara raised her arm. The metal shifted again, but this time, not into a blade. It formed a shield. The laser fired. It hit her dead on, but she didn't fall. The shield absorbed it. The machine paused, calculating. Alara sprinted forward. She ducked under a claw and smashed her arm into its side. Sparks flew. She hit it again and again. The tech responded. With every blow, reshaping itself like liquid metal, striking harder each time. The bot screamed in static, sparks raining from its joints. Finally, it collapsed. Dead. The promised Jonah and the others ran out of the cells, shocked. You destroyed that thing, one whispered. I didn't, Alara said, looking at her arm. We did. She looked at them all. Tired. Broken. Scared. But alive. We're not experiments, she said. We're not victims. She looked toward the dark hallway ahead. We're the reason they're going to regret ever touching humanity. The adaptation. The walls hummed like they were alive. Alara moved quietly, leading Jonah and the 3 rescued survivors through a narrow passage lit by pale blue veins pulsing inside the metal. The further they went, the more the walls looked. Less like a machine and more like a body. Jonah whispered, This isn't just a base. It's organic. I know, Alara said. The tech in her fused arm was glowing again, brighter than ever. With every step it shifted slightly under her skin, as if it was breathing with her. It didn't feel foreign anymore. It felt like hers. But she didn't trust it yet. Not completely. A voice without sound. They reached a quiet chamber. Strange symbols circled the walls, and in the center stood a black pillar covered in floating lights. The moment Alara entered, her arm pulsed hard like a heartbeat skipping. The survivor sat down to rest, but Alara moved toward the pillar. Something pulled her forward. Not fear, not curiosity. Connection. Suddenly her vision blurred. She wasn't in the room anymore. She stood inside a memory, but it wasn't hers. She saw planets burning, civilizations falling, alien machines fusing with living hosts, not to help them but to control them. And then, she saw Earth. A shadow moved toward it. She gasped and fell back. Jonah caught her. What happened? He asked. I think, she panted, the tech is showing me something. You mean it's communicating? She nodded. But deep inside, a worry began to grow. What if this bond came with a cost? Learning the weapon hours passed. Alara sat alone, away from the others. She stared at her arm, now calm and still. With a deep breath, she focused. Show me what you are. Nothing. She focused harder, thinking of the battle, the shield, the pain, the rage. The metal stirred. Her fingers melted together, then reshaped into a blade. She thought defend. The blade folded, forming a shield. She thought run. It turned into claw-like hooks for climbing. Jonah watched from the side, amazed. It listens to your thoughts. More than that, she said, it responds to emotion, to intent. It's alive. Alara shook her head. No, it's not just alive, it's ancient. And it was made to control. Jonah stood. Then why is it helping you? She looked him dead in the eyes. I don't think it has a choice. The hidden room, they moved again, deeper into the facility. The strange architecture turned more alien. Walls grew teeth-like ridges. Pipes throbbed like arteries. It wasn't built, it was grown. Then they found it, a hidden chamber behind a sealed door. When Alara touched the panel, it opened instantly. Inside, floating capsules, maybe a dozen. Most were broken, one still glowed. Inside, a figure, a girl. Young, pale skin, long silver hair, and her left arm was fused like Alara's. Alara stepped forward. Her arm pulsed wildly. She's like me, she whispered. Jonah read the alien markings. Designation, Subject 11B, failed to submit, locked in stasis. Suddenly, the girl's eyes snapped open. Contact. She didn't move, just stared. Alara knelt beside the capsule. Can you hear me? The girl blinked slowly. Then something strange happened. Alara's mind buzzed. Not a voice, not words, but feelings, images, flash after flash, pain, chains, resistance, silence. Then, hope, Alara gasped. The girl was speaking directly into her mind through the same tech. Jonah stared. What's happening? She's showing me what they did to her. Suddenly the girl's body twitched. The capsule lights flickered. She's dying, Alara said. The tech inside her is unstable. Without thinking, Alara reached out and touched the glass. Her fused arm flared, and a surge of energy jumped between them. The capsule powered down. The girl fell unconscious, but her breathing became steady. She's stable, Jonah said. You fixed her? No, Alara replied. We did. The dark truth. They took the girl with them, still unconscious but alive. Later, when the others rested, Alara and Jonah explored the data room, deep inside the facility's core. Here she found records, logs, experiments, alien files written in code but some translated. They revealed everything. This place was once a biofactory. The tech fused to her body was not designed to heal. It was created to enslave. The aliens known as the Calyx had developed it as a weapon, to take over minds, twist bodies, control thoughts. It turned warriors into puppets. But it had a flaw. Humans resisted. Every time they tested on a human, the results failed. The tech either rejected them or became unstable. But Alara's bond? It wasn't failure. It was evolution. She wasn't supposed to survive it. Now she was something they couldn't control, and that made her dangerous. The overseer knows in the main surveillance room, a large screen flickered. An alien figure appeared, tall, dressed in ceremonial black armor. Skin like ash eyes, bright silver. Overseer Kator, he spoke calmly. We see you, Subject Alara. You should not exist. You are corrupted, unstable, dangerous. She stared at the screen, unshaken. Kator continued, return now. Surrender. And your death will be painless. Ilara leaned closer to the screen. You created this weapon, she said, and now it's on my side. I created a tool, Cater said, not a queen. You failed, she said coldly. Because you don't understand what makes us human. Kator's voice dropped. We are coming for you. The screen went black. The walls shook. A deep rumbling sound echoed from above. Jonah looked up. What was that? Ilara's arm pulsed again, hotter this time. They found us. She looked at the unconscious girl in her arms. At Jonah. At the other survivors. There was no going back, only forward. And whatever waited ahead, she would face it as human, or not at all. The escape plan. The ground trembled again. Dust fell from the ceiling vents. Distant howls echoed through the metallic halls. Somewhere deep above them, the Overseer's forces had begun to move. Ilara stood still in the dim corridor, her body tense, her fused arm glowing faintly blue. The unconscious girl, Subject 11B, lay nearby, wrapped in salvaged cloth. Jonah crouched beside her, checking her pulse. She's stable, he said, but weak. We can't carry her for long. Ilara nodded, eyes sharp. Then we'll need to move fast. Jonah frowned. We can't fight them head on. No, she agreed. But we can outsmart them. Searching for a way out. The group, now 5 humans and 1 strange half-human girl, moved carefully through the dark corridors. Every light flicker made their hearts race. Every creak in the walls felt like a trap ready to spring. Ilara kept her eyes scanning. The alien tech in her arm pulsed when danger was near. It had become a guide, almost like a second mind inside her own. They passed what looked like a large open chamber, filled with strange glowing tubes and mechanical vines. Ilara slowed, staring at a central console. A holomap hovered above it. Flickering, she moved closer. Jonah warned, it could be a trap, or the way out. Ilara pressed her hand, the fused one, against the console. The lights changed. The map stabilized. It showed the entire underground complex. Rooms, labs, holding cells, exit shafts, landing platforms. More importantly, it showed a path. Ilara's eyes locked on the glowing line. Found it. The enemy watches far above in the command chamber. Overseer Kator watched the screen with narrowed eyes. She's adapting faster than expected, he said to his second in command. The tech should be rejecting her. Instead, it's evolving. Shall we activate Protocol Red? The commander asked. Kator nodded slowly. Yes. Trap them. Let her believe she's escaping. And then, Kator smiled, showing rows of sharp gray teeth. Then we break her spirit and take the tech back by force. Whispers in the dark as Ilara led the team deeper into the core tunnels. The air grew colder. The walls were different here. Older, rusted, as if they hadn't been touched in years. Why would they lead power through this part of the base? Jonah asked. Ilara glanced around. Because they're not expecting anyone to survive long enough to reach it. Suddenly they heard movement behind the wall. Scraping. Breathing. Jonah raised a pipe in defense. Is that another bot? No, Ilara said softly. That's something alive. From a vent, a pair of glowing eyes stared back. Then another. And another. Thin, twisted creatures dropped from the shadows, part organic, part machine, like broken experiments left to rot. Their limbs were mismatched, their faces stretched unnaturally. One hissed in a distorted voice. Human. Pain. More. Move, Ilara shouted. They ran, the creatures chasing behind them. Jonah carried the unconscious girl while Ilara took the rear, her arm forming a blade. She turned mid-run and slashed at a crawler. It screamed, sparks and blood spraying against the walls. Another lunged from the ceiling, but the blade extended on instinct, impaling it mid-air. The group burst through a door and Ilara slammed it shut. For a second, only their panting filled. The air. Jonah looked at her. That wasn't just tech, that was instinct. Ilara nodded slowly. It's part of me now. The core breach. They reached the engine room, a circular chamber filled with humming machinery, and a large sealed airlock that led up to the surface hangar. Jonah checked the panel. Still locked. Needs a biocode. Ilara stepped forward. Her arm shimmered. She pressed it to the lock. The panel turned green. Access granted. Jonah stared at her. You're more alien than human now. Ilara looked down at her arm, the veins glowing. Maybe, but my heart still beats human. They entered the hangar bay. Rows of alien ships sat in place, most inactive, but one near the end still flickered with power. We'll take that one, Ilara said. Suddenly a deep voice echoed through the chamber. You were never meant to leave. They turned. Overseer Couture stood at the top of the stairs, tall, monstrous, flanked by armored guards. Behind him, metal walls closed. The trap had sprung. The Choice Couture's voice was calm. You've done the impossible. You fused with our greatest weapon, but you were not chosen for this. You're a flaw, a virus in the system. Ilara stepped forward, eyes locked on his. Then maybe you should have built a better system. Couture raised his hand. The guards moved forward. Ilara turned to Jonah. Get them on the ship. I'm not leaving you behind. You won't have to, she said. But if I fall, make sure they know what we found here. He hesitated, then nodded, carrying the girl and leading the others to the craft. Ilara faced Couture. The tech in her arm surged, sharper, faster, more fluid than ever. Couture pulled out a massive energy weapon from his back. Let's see if the legend of your species is real, he said. She raised her blade. Humans don't need legends, we survive. The two charged, metal clashed, sparks flew. Ilara spun, dodged, slashed. Couture's strikes were powerful, precise, almost inhuman. But Ilara was faster. The tech predicted his moves, countering, adapting. But Couture wasn't alone. Two guards flanked her. One grabbed her arm, forcing her back. The other aimed for her chest. Then, bang. A blast of blue light lit up the hangar. Jonah stood at the ship's ramp, holding an alien cannon. One of the guards fell. Ilara twisted free, slammed her blade through the second guard's helmet. Couture screamed in rage and fired a blast that hit her square in the stomach. She flew back, slammed into a wall. The others cried out. Smoke rose. She didn't move. Couture approached her still body. It ends here. He reached for her fused arm, and it exploded in light. The tech spread like wildfire, latching onto his arm, his chest, his neck. He screamed. Ilara stood, her eyes glowing with blue fire. I told you, she said. We don't break. No. Turning back. The hangar was burning. Flickers of blue and orange fire danced along the walls as smoke choked the air. Sparks rained from cracked ceilings. Screams echoed from both human and alien throats. Ilara stood at the center of it all, her fused arm glowing like a living blade, her eyes burning with a strange blue light. Her body trembled, not from fear, but from power. Couture lay on the ground, twitching. The alien tech had turned on him, infecting his systems. His armor cracked. The skin beneath glowed faintly, melting into metal. He was becoming like her, but not by choice. Jonah rushed to her side. Ilara, are you okay? She didn't answer. Her body swayed slightly. The glow on her arm began to pulse erratically. Ilara? She looked at him, and for a second he saw something terrifying. Her pupils were gone. Only light remained. Losing control, inside her mind, Ilara was falling. Darkness, voices, memories not her own. Battlefields, laboratories, planets screaming. Billions consumed by the tech. A hive mind that once controlled galaxies and now, it wanted her. You are the carrier. You are the next host. She screamed silently, but a voice rose inside her. A different one. Her own. No, I choose what I become. Burning through the enemy. Ilara gasped and snapped back to reality. The glow in her eyes dimmed, but didn't fade completely. Jonah held her steady. You were gone for a moment. I'm back, she whispered, but something's changing. It's not just in my body anymore, it's inside my mind. You're still you. I don't know for how long. They turned. The other humans were already inside the alien ship, waiting. The ramp was open. The engines were warming. Then, the walls shook violently. A massive door on the far side of the hangar cracked open. More enemy forces, drones, heavy guards. And behind them, something worse. A large, slithering figure. Part machine, part beast. Dozens of red eyes. Needle-like arms. Its mouth opened sideways, revealing rows of teeth. Jonah whispered, "What is that?" Ilara narrowed her eyes. They kept it hidden. Maybe even from Kaitor. It's their failsafe. It let out a scream that cracked the glass overhead. Decision, the ship's voice echoed. Engines ready. Prepare for liftoff. Ilara turned to Jonah. You need to go. Take them. Protect the girl. Get to orbit. Call Earth. Jonah grabbed her arm. Not without you. You can't stop this thing with a wrench and a broken rib, she said, forcing a smile. But I might. Ilara. She touched his cheek. We don't win by surviving. We win by giving them something they can never copy. Courage. Jonah's eyes filled with tears. He kissed her forehead and backed away. Don't die. I'll try. The ramp closed. The ship began to lift, and Ilara turned to face the monster in the mirror. The beast charged. Ilara raised her arm. No, longer just a weapon. It shifted wildly, forming claws, whips, spikes. She moved like lightning, slashing at the creature's legs, but it was massive. Stronger. Faster. It knocked her through a wall. She hit metal and slid down, coughing blood. The tech on her arm wrapped. Around her torso now, defensive armor forming on instinct. It had fully awakened, and so had she. You were built to control, she said through clenched teeth, rising to her feet. But I was born to resist. She charged again, slashing at the beast's eyes. It screamed, firing spikes. One hit, her shoulder. Another pierced her thigh. She fell, but the tech spread like liquid metal, sealing the wounds. The pain faded. She stood again. The room of secrets in the chaos. The wall behind the beast collapsed, revealing a hidden chamber. Ilara rolled inside. It was cold, quiet, and lined with pods. Hundreds of them, each one holding a figure. Human, or something. Close. Ilara limped closer. Some were missing limbs. Some had glowing eyes. Some looked just like her. Test subjects, failures. And then she saw one that made her freeze. Her own face. Another Ilara, younger, smaller, but alive. Eyes opened slowly. Who are you? The clone whispered. Ilara stepped back. I'm me. The clone's eyes flickered. They made me from you. Your memories. Your pain. I remember the screams. Tears filled Ilara's eyes. How many? Too many. We were supposed to be soldiers, but none survived the bond. Ilara gritted her teeth. Until me. The clone reached out. Then you're the end, or the beginning. The last fight behind her. The beast roared and tore through the collapsed wall. Ilara turned. No fear now. Only fire, she whispered to the tech in her arm. Give me everything. And it obeyed. The metal surged, forming full-body armor, wings of plasma, and a weapon that shifted with her every thought. She launched herself at the monster. Every strike was brutal, clean, surgical. She cut through its limbs, its wires, its mind until she drove her blade deep into its core. It screamed one last time and collapsed. Dead. Aftermath. The room fell silent. The clone watched her with awe. You became what they feared most, she whispered. A free weapon. Ilara collapsed to her knees. I'm still human, she said, voice shaking. Then don't let them bury that, the clone replied. Not even you. Ilara looked up. The hangar was in ruins. The enemy was gone. But so was... Her path back, she activated her communicator. Jonah, are you there? Static. Then, his voice. We made it out. Heading to orbit. Sending the signal to Earth. Ilara smiled. Good. Tell them what happened. Tell them. She paused. Then, said, tell them we don't break. The final messages. Ilara sat alone in the ruins. She noticed the wall screen flicker one last time. Kator's image appeared, half alive, face burned, metal fused into his skin. You may have won this room, he rasped. But this war is far from over. Ilara stood, limping toward the screen. I'm counting on it, she said. The screen went black, and behind her, the clone whispered, they'll send more. Ilara looked down at her glowing arm. Then let them come. The uprising. The stars were burning. From the orbit of Calyx 9, Jonah watched the alien sky twist with movement, ships launching, defense systems activating, alarms wailing across the dark planet. But he wasn't alone anymore. Earth had answered the call. Dozens of human ships were now in position, silent, sleek, and angry. And at their center was Admiral Marin, grizzled and gray, his eyes locked on the planet below. She's still down there? He asked. Jonah nodded. Yes, sir. Ilara stayed behind to destroy their command structure. And the tech in her? It's part of her now. Marin grunted. Then let's give her a reason to come home. Deep below, the seed awakens Ilara, sat in the heart of the ruined base surrounded by quiet. The alien tech on her arm no longer pulsed with urgency, but with silence, as if waiting. The clone, Subject E9, sat nearby studying her. You've gone further than any of us, she said, but you're still changing. Ilara didn't respond. She could feel it. Her thoughts weren't just hers anymore. New ideas appeared. Patterns, plans, schematics for things she didn't understand. She had absorbed the seed core, the mind of the alien network. She hadn't destroyed it in the fight. She had absorbed it, and now it was whispering, connect, expand, evolve. She stood. No, she said aloud. I decide who I become. But she could feel the pull, and it terrified her. Earth enters the war above the planet. Human warships launched EMP torpedoes at the alien satellites. Explosions danced in space. Calyx fighters scrambled to intercept, but Earth's new AI-guided interceptors tore through them like paper. For the first time, the Calyx fleet lost control of their own skies. Inside the command center, Kator, what was left of him, screamed orders. His face was half metal now, fused with corrupt code. The humans are inside our network. Lock them out. One of the Calyx officers shook his head. We can't. Something is rewriting the system from within. Kator froze. He knew what it was. Ilara. From prisoners to soldiers in the lower sectors, Ilara moved through broken labs and dark halls. The clone followed, silent, curious. They passed more holding cells, many now empty, opened by the tech she had hijacked. Former prisoners, humans, hybrids, even alien defectors, were gathering in groups, watching her, whispering. She was no longer just an escapee. She was a symbol. Jonah's voice came through the comm. Ilara, we've established contact with freed prisoners across the base. They're asking for a leader. Ilara looked at her arm. I'm not a leader. Maybe not, Jonah replied. But right now you're the only one they'll follow. The battle begins. Using the alien interface in her mind, Ilara opened doors, disabled cameras, rerouted power. The base became a maze for the Calyx and a weapon for the uprising. Rebel forces moved through secret tunnels, using stolen weapons. Former test subjects, each changed in different ways, became shock troops, stronger, faster, and immune to the base's defense systems. One rebel shouted, "They called us mistakes, but we are their end." The uprising had begun. Ilara stood on a high platform, overlooking the base's central core. Thousands gathered below, Dirty, wounded, determined. She raised her voice. "I'm not here to give you freedom," she said. "I'm here to show you how to take it." They cheered. The cost of power. But the deeper Alara went into the alien systems, the more she felt the seed core pushing back. It offered her more power. It showed her how to shut down the enemy fleet. With a single thought. It showed her how to reshape matter, command machines, even rewrite life itself. It whispered, "You could end war forever." She hesitated. Was this still her choice, or was it just another cage? The clone touched her arm gently. "Be careful, even gods bleed." The trap as the rebels pushed into the command tower, something went wrong. The doors sealed. A trap. Kator's voice echoed through the halls. "You want rebellion? Then let's see what happens when you lose your leader." Gas filled the chamber. Ilara's team fell coughing, some dropping unconscious. She screamed, but the gas didn't affect her. Her body had already become something else. Kator appeared above, his body grotesque, half flesh, half code, barely stable. "You were our mistake," he said. "Now you'll be our virus." He leapt. She caught him mid-air. They crashed through the platform, falling 3 stories. Alara hit hard, her vision blurred, but her arm moved on its own, shielding her from the final blow. Kator rose, growling, laughing. "You think you've won because you changed, but you're not human anymore. You're just the first copy." Ilara stood slowly. "Maybe, but I'm not the one glitching out like an old toaster." And she struck. The uprising. Turns while the 2 titans clashed. The rebels below began to fall. Back, the gas was spreading. Machines were reactivating, the uprising was losing momentum. Jonah's voice crackled through Ilara's comm. "We're being pushed back. We need a shutdown. Anything." She looked at Kator. He grinned. "You want to end this? You'll have to do what we did. Give up everything." She didn't hesitate. She connected to the seed core. Not just her arm. All of her. The choice a flood of information blasted through her mind. She saw every system, every ship, every soldier. She could shut them all down. But the cost was high, she'd lose control. She might not come back. Jonah's voice echoed in her ear. "Alara, please." She smiled softly. "I told you I'd try not to die." And she let go. The shutdown lights. Across the base dimmed. Machines froze. Ships in orbit shut down. Kator screamed as his own body began to disassemble, broken from within. All of this. For them? Alara stood tall, eyes glowing white now. For us? He collapsed. Dead. And the seed core went silent. Aftermath. Silence fell across the planet. The gas cleared. The systems stayed dark. Earth ships landed without resistance. Jonah rushed through the hall, searching. Others followed. He found her in the central chamber, still standing but unmoving. Her eyes were closed, her chest rose. Slowly, he grabbed her hand. It was warm. "She's alive," he shouted, but something was different. Her arm no longer glowed. The tech was still there, but sleeping. Weeks later, Earth began cleaning the ruins of the Calyx Empire. The prisoners were evacuated. The clone disappeared. Her fate, unknown. Ilara lay in a recovery pod on the orbiting flagship, still silent, still resting, until her eyes opened, but they were no longer blue. They were silver, and a faint voice whispered in her mind, "One more mission." The Human Way. 3 weeks later, orbiting Earth. The room was quiet. Soft lights hummed. Machines beeped in rhythm with her heartbeat. The medpod's glass lid hissed open. Ilara opened her eyes. She sat up slowly. Her body was thinner. Her hair longer. Her left arm still fused with alien tech, but now it shimmered silver and soft, no longer pulsing violently. No pain. No noise, just stillness. But something inside her was wide awake. She stood. The monitors went blank as she passed them. Security locks opened before she touched them. She was back. But something had followed her from the calyx core. Earth doesn't feel like home when. Ilara stepped onto Earth's surface again. She expected to feel relief. The sun, the sky, real air. Instead, she felt watched. Crowds stared at her like she was something else. Not a hero. Not a soldier. A weapon. The president himself shook her hand and smiled for cameras, but his eyes held fear. Jonah greeted her with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "You did it," he said. "You saved us all." Ilara just nodded. She couldn't tell him the truth. The alien tech hadn't died. It had merged, not just with her, but with Earth's entire network, quietly, patiently, watching. Nightmares of light at night. Ilara didn't sleep. She saw planets swallowed by tech. Armies turned to puppets. She saw the calyx not as creators, but as victims. They hadn't built the seed core. They had found it, and tried to use it, just like Earth would, just like humans always did. A choice. No one should make one morning. Ilara walked through the EarthGov, Intelligence HQ in New Geneva. Alarms didn't stop her. No one did. She entered the secure room where the calyx tech was being studied. Dozens of alien artifacts, half-active cores, and a prototype being built using her scans. Earth was trying to copy the seed. Jonah appeared behind her, eyes wide. "Ilara, this isn't what it looks like." "You're building another me," she said quietly. "No," he said. "We're building a defense in case they come back." She turned. "You're becoming them." He lowered his eyes and said nothing. The message. From the void that night, a signal came from deep space, encrypted alien code. Ilara was the only one who could read it. She translated it alone in a dark room. It said, "You are not the only seed bearer. They are waking. This is not over." And then coordinates. An unknown system. Far beyond Earth's reach. She closed the message, heart pounding. The final council, a secret meeting, was called. Leaders from Earth's major powers. Scientists. Generals Jonah and Ilara. They asked her what the message meant, what the coordinates pointed to. She looked at them all and lied. "It's nothing, just old code, echoes." But Jonah knew. After the meeting, he cornered her. "Ilara, you're leaving, aren't you?" She didn't answer. "You're going to find them." She finally looked him in the eyes. "If I don't, someone else will. And next time it won't be a soldier who fuses with the tech. It'll be a politician, a machine, or worse, someone who wants it." He grabbed her hand. "Then let me go with you." She smiled softly. "You've done enough. Stay here. Keep Earth human." Departure. Ilara took a one-passenger stealth ship, modified with alien code only she could use. No one could stop her. Not anymore. As the ship launched from the dark side of the moon, she stared down at Earth one last time. So beautiful, so fragile, so human. She whispered, "We don't give up." Mid-journey revelation weeks passed. Her ship drifted through dead systems, empty planets, ruins of alien civilizations. Each one showed the same pattern: seed tech, attempts to control it, and failure. Then she found it, the source, a black, silent station orbiting a dying star, unmarked, waiting. She docked and entered. The mirror inside, she saw them. Dozens of beings, humanoid, alien, hybrid, all in stasis, each with a glowing arm like hers, each bearing a different version of the seed, each lost in dreams, until one woke up. He stepped forward, tall, calm, eyes like hers, silver fire. "I am Dale," he said. "You are late." She raised her arm. "I didn't know I was invited." "You weren't, but you were expected." "What is this place?" He looked around. The last council of those who resisted the seed and lived. Ilara stepped closer. "Why me?" "Because you didn't use it to rule, you used it to protect. You're the only one who chose to remain human." The final choice Dale showed her the truth. The seed wasn't a weapon, it was a test. It had no master, no code, only reflection. It gave power, but it showed you who you truly were. The calyx had failed. Others had failed. But Alara, she passed, and now the seed offered her one final choice: merge fully, with the ability to shape worlds, or return home. As a warning. The human way, she stood at the edge of the dark station, looking out at the galaxy. Behind her, hundreds of seed-bearers slept, or waited, or watched. Inside her mind, the voice of the seed was calm. "You are ready," she whispered back. "Then you don't understand humanity at all." She didn't take the power. She turned her back on it, and flew home. 1 year later, Eartha Museum in New Geneva now holds her empty armor. Children gather around it. A plaque reads, "Alara Thorne, the first seed-bearer, the one who refused to become a god." Some say she still lives. Some say she died in deep space. But Jonah knows the truth. Sometimes he hears her voice in dreams. Not orders, not commands. Just a whisper. We don't break.